same town as me, so they would come up and help on the farm, and we would bounce back and forth to each other's houses. So it was just really great being able to grow up with them and share experiences. And also I have my friend Devin in the room here today. Lauren and Devin and me all joined college together, came to Penn State, all started in Ag Sci, but sadly I left them and I came to Ag Ed, but that's okay. I still am really proud of them and the things that they're doing. And then up here at the top is my fiance David. He also was able to take off work today and come see me, but also his educational journey. When I met him in high school, he didn't have the best high school experience. Teachers were really hard on him. He really didn't want to be there. And a lot of teachers just pretty much made him feel like he did not deserve a good education because he didn't do his work. And it took one teacher in high school that ended up bringing him back from dropping out and actually allowed him to graduate and told him, hey, you're going to do great things. You're going to be successful. And now he is. He's a mechanic at a dealership, so living a great life that he just loves what he does every day. So he's my inspiration for what I want to be as a teacher. I want to be that teacher that provides that opportunity to kids say, hey, you're worth something. You got it, whether any other teacher thinks so or not. And then, of course, my Penn State family here. My cohort members have been absolutely crucial in getting through this past year, especially. Always just making me laugh, providing support when I'm down and out, but also when I'm living my best days, when I'm having the most exciting opportunities. And then some of my Ag Ed advisors. Dr. Ewing, probably whether he knows it or not, is actually the reason that I ended up switching, because as my mom knows, I love deals. Like, I just love getting the best bang for my buck. I'm like a bargain shopper. And when I was trying to decide whether I wanted to do Ag Ed or Ag Sci, I went to Dr. Ewing and kind of talked to him. He was like, well, if you do Ag Sci, that's great. You can get a job in Ag, but if you do Ag Ed, you could get any job in Ag Sci, but also be a teacher if you want to do that. I was like, 2-for-1 deal, awesome. So that's I joined. And Dr. Curry, I've had classes with him since I was a freshman, and he's always just brought so much humor to the classroom. I can't even describe how many times I just like sit in his class and laugh, like, what did he just say? It was just so funny. And I just like really want to channel that through my teaching as well, because he just like, I mean, if I could be that as a teacher, it'd be awesome. And then Dr. Foster and Dr. Miller Foster, one of the two of the most impactful people in my experience here at Penn State, because they brought this local farm-raised girl into international agriculture and really showing me what that looks like. And now I'm super interested in it. Definitely going to be a huge part of me as a teacher someday. So super cool. And then those were the people that made my experiences. These are the work experiences that have got me to where I am today. So growing up on the family farm, obviously, this is what grew my passion, grew my content knowledge, being able to see a calf being born, watching it grow up. And then we actually butcher our own animals too. So seeing the whole cycle in turn really put a good perspective on my life. At an early age, I knew that I was going to do agriculture for forever. I don't remember a time where I thought maybe I would be something else. It's always been involved in agriculture. But at one time I did think I was going to be a dairy farmer, which goes into Valewood Farms. I used to go up there over the summer when I was younger and work on my cousin's dairy farm, Valewood Farms, and milk cows, feed calves. And I thought that, you know, my parents came from dairy farms. I'm like working at a dairy farm. This is the best thing ever. I'm going to be a dairy farmer. And obviously, as I got older, I realized that I have such a interest in the dairy industry and a love for the dairy industry, but it is a hard field to be in. And I appreciate everybody who does it, but it is tough. And then Patchwork Farms and Greenhouse. This was when I got my driver's license, was able to drive, and my friend Lauren worked there. She still works there. She's been chugging out for like 6 years. She's impressive. She started a retirement plan. It's like actually not impressive. But I actually got to work with one of my closest friends. We rocked out in the greenhouse, learned a lot about horticultural crops, which I only had previous experience in agronomy with my dad. So getting to that horticulture experience. And then when I started college, I worked for the Penn State Beef Sheep Center, and I love beef. Like, that's why I went. And then they're like, but we need help on the sheep side. It's like, oh no, I don't really like sheep and goats that much. I didn't think I did anyways. But then I really learned how to be a good sheep wrangler. And then I like apparently loved it so much that I started working at another sheep farm. So that was really exciting. And so I got to see the meat side of sheep production and also the wool side of sheep production, which is both an interesting perspective. And then some of the really cool internship opportunities I've had. I got to be a Rock Springs research support intern. So I was mainly stationed in the Past Agriculture Museum under Miss Rita Griff. And she was super inspiring to me to learn about the history of our agriculture. And she actually gave me the opportunity to develop some curriculum based on some of the research projects that were going on out here. So I got to meet with researchers, help them with their research projects, really learn about how they got to where they are and what they're doing. So excited to take that into students that maybe are interested looking for research opportunities, but then also taking that history of ag, what our agriculture looked like before gasoline, before steam power. So, and then probably I have to say the most impactful experience was working for the Global Teach Ag Network. Getting to connect with educators from across the world, from all different disciplines, made me realize that this is where I belong. If our teachers are teaching about food security, then I should be too, because it is something that has led my life and been so important in my life. So with the Global Teach Ag, I have got to do some really cool things. So with the Global Teach Ag Network, I was able to be in the GOALS program, which is the Global Orientation to Agricultural Leadership program. And so I got to go on a plane for the first time last year. It was super cool. I actually loved it. I went to Iowa for the World Food Prize, where we got some awesome professional development on topics of food security and also teaching that we then took to a state of our choice within the United States. So I actually ended up going to Raleigh, North Carolina, teaching at Garner Magnet School. This was my first time teaching in an urban school. So it was like super exciting seeing all these kids that did not come from farming backgrounds. And a lot of them really didn't want to pursue agriculture, but they just loved learning about it so much because the teacher there showed how agriculture is so much more than just farming. And that really inspired me. And then I was like, you know, since I've been on a plane once, why not go completely across the country, right? So Dr. Miller Foster, don't get me wrong, I'm really sad that COVID happened, but their trip to Nepal got canceled the year before. So then this year, she asked me and Peter Brandon Bixler to hang out, tag along with her to do like a scouting trip for future Penn State visits. But then we also got to do this super cool research project on agriculture education, which we are still currently working on. And we just got notified that we got accepted into an international conference in Canada that we'll be going to present our research in the spring, which is so exciting. So in that little handout, if you scan that QR code, I have like 800 pictures of Nepal in there just because it's like so awesome. Everyone's like, show me pictures, and I've never been around to it. So all the pictures are in there if you want to look at them. And then because of all my international work, taking international agriculture classes, and my work with the Global Teach Ag Network, I was able to get the International Agriculture Minor. And ever since I was a freshman, had a passion for agronomy. This is what I focused on mainly in high school FFA. So I've been working on getting that minor since my freshman year. Some of the certifications I have: National Safe Tractor and Machinery Operation Program Instructor. If my dad's listening right now, he's probably like, what the heck? Because I've seen her crash into so many things. But I got better as I got older, so trust me, it's okay. Need to work on it still a little bit, but hopefully providing students that opportunity. And then I got the Serve Safe Food Handler certification and Hunter Ed Course Instructor certification. And even I really hope to get my students these certifications and many more, but also using these to provide industry standards in my curriculum too, of what current certifications and processes look like. And then with that, I've got to experience some really cool professional development opportunities with the GOALS program, as I highlighted earlier, and then PAAE, the PA Association for Agriculture Educators Conference that we went to last summer. Got to meet amazing educators from all across PA. And I actually got to do a workshop on SAE, which is Supervised Agriculture Experiences, and learning how to use the program that schools use to implement SAE, which is like the first time I really got to take a dive into that platform and learn how to use it. So really helpful for me. And then the Ag Inquiry Institute, I'll talk a little bit about this later when I talk about what I want my classroom instruction to look like, but just allowing students to take lead of their learning. And then NAA, we actually just got back from Vegas like 2 weeks ago, and I won like $35, and I was like, yes, I'm done. So like, I did come out on top a little bit, and I was like super excited about that. Not to like gamble a little bit in Vegas, just a little bit, but that was a super cool experience as well. Got to meet educators from across the nation and also get to experience some more amazing workshops with them. And then some key courses. This is like my favorite slide ever to talk about, and everybody's like, don't talk about that so much. I'm like, I don't care, I got to. So starting off, ANSI 201, I really thought I knew animal science, and then I walked in, and Mr. Olver was like, nope, you know nothing. And he taught me so many new things about animal science. I just couldn't even believe it. And because of that, I put so much hard work into studying for that course. I mean, I hammered it out. Devin took that course with me, and man, we spent hours studying with that course. And my hard work eventually paid off because Mr. Olver actually asked me to come back and TA, and I TA'd for 2 semesters leading the lab section. So that was just so fun being able to like implement my learning back. They say the best way to actually get to know something is to teach it. So getting that experience really helped me in my journey. And then Soils 402 with Dr. White was amazing class, and Agronomy 423 with Mr. Hoover. Both of these I picked for a very similar reason, because the instructors actually made the effort to talk to me and to actually make that relationship with me and work through these classes. And I just love these classes because growing up on a farm, I just loved being able to take this information that I learned from these classes and be able to be like, Dad, this is what I learned. Probably not gonna use it, but like, listen to me, this is so cool. And so that was why I just absolutely love those courses. And then along with those, both of the instructors were really awesome to be able to help me when I led the PA-FFA agronomy contest, and I helped with that this past year. They met with me, gave me contest ideas and suggestions, and they both gave up their whole day when the contest was going on to come and help me run stations out there. So that networking and just them being willing to help me on my education journey means so much to me. And then AE 349, ag processes with Dr. Ewing. I haven't got my hands on an engine or on like anything ag related in a long time, since high school probably. So being able to jump out of the normal getting hammered with curriculum, a lot of paper writing, actually getting my hands on something, on working on something, made me realize why hands-on learning is so important, first of all, but just like gave me a mental break, being like, oh, I love doing this, this is so fun. So really appreciate him for that class. And then AE 412. Being a teacher sounds really easy. You get up in the front of the classroom, you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna learn. But it's really not. There's so many things that goes into being an effective teacher. And a lot of methods that we needed to learn to get students involved and actually make an impact in their lives. So really appreciate Dr. Foster and Carson and Audie for leading us through that class. One of my most favorite assignments was actually in Soils 402. I just thought this, looking at it from a teacher's perspective, because it was like the best assignment in my mind, what I want to give to my students. Our final project, actually, he gave us some scenarios of projects we could do, could pick from, but then also free reign on a project that we could do for ourselves, or that we were interested in. So I actually was able to do my project taking soil samples. So I got my dad to help me get some soil samples and learn about the history of our fields, and then make a report on that, learning about fertilization and management. Was just everything that I wanted in a project. Being able to take the content we learned in class, take it to something that I'm interested in, is really important for me as a teacher moving forward. And another cool project that I've got to do for Dr. Ewing's class was make a project under $15. So I actually decided to make a 4-way countdown project. So the instructions are up there on the board, but it's just a really simple little game that's actually super addicting. As you can see, Anna showing her mom how to play the game. All my cohort members were literally playing it up to my presentation. It's just so fun. And it gets students their hands on a lot of different equipment in the shop. So using planers, joiners, drills, so many different things, applying chemicals, glue, stains, getting to work with those things. So if you want to check that out, maybe play it a few rounds. It also helps with basic math skills, maybe if you have some little siblings at home to teach math too. So then all of this experience has grown me to where I want to be as a teacher, who I want to be. So a little bit about my teaching philosophy. My 2 big things: I want students to work hard, and I want them to be able to find their passions, really take a deep dive into that, no matter whether it's in agriculture or not. So what am I supposed to tell somebody if they find that their passion is art, that they can't do it? No, I just want everybody to be able to find their passion. And also it's really important for me to develop those key employability skills that they can use in any job. those leadership, how to solve problems, good team player skills, and then doing that through the 3-circle model of agricultural education. So here's a circle, or the 3-circle model of agricultural education. So going back to that inquiry-based learning, giving kids a problem and then telling them, here you go, figure it out, and kind of like providing them steps along the way to make that the best experience as possible, but really getting them hands-on educational activities is really important to me. And then throughout the day, getting to practice those skills in a competitive environment with career development events and leadership development events. And then also, tying back to my philosophy, providing them professional leadership development at different conferences. And then SIEs, the supervised agriculture experiences, provides them with those real world opportunities about things that they're interested in. So here's just a few examples. They can do internships, research projects, ownerships, and there's so many options that go along with SIE. But it wouldn't be anything without a good, strong community structure. So making sure that the community is tied in with my program is essential for all my courses, all my units. So an example I have up here for a horticulture course, I actually plan to implement student teaching. I'm doing a greenhouse tour, and then that hopefully will lead to an opportunity for an SAE project, such as an internship, and then also getting horticulture professionals in the classroom to work with the students, teach them the things they know, especially when it comes time to the plant sale, because they know so much more than I do about how to properly grow plants. So allowing them to help set up that plant sale. And then also the plant sale in general, getting the community in, being able to buy plants, that also helps the ag program. So some of my classroom management things. So I have my classroom expectations and procedures and behavioral consequences. Starting with my classroom expectations and procedures, I think these are key to implement right away, first off. And then if you show that there is no wiggle room when it comes to these, you're not going to have as many behavioral consequences to deal with in the end. So I'll let you guys read through those, but they're all pretty basic. I think the thing to highlight most is the classroom procedures, making sure I put the bookends on the shelf, intro and wrap ups, that way it keeps their knowledge in their heads, hopefully, is really key. And then this is what my ideal program would look like. So all students funnel into an intro course, and then they can decide to go down one of the multiple pathways. And obviously, as they get deeper into those pathways, they get to choose what kind of interests them most. They could bounce around if they wanted to, but obviously, as it gets down lower, the instruction gets a little more intense and specified. And so a good program would be nothing without the amazing students within it. So a little bit about what I want to see in my program, like I mentioned, being part of the goals program, getting students that are interested in all kinds of fields in agriculture, getting students that are interested in art, biology, getting them in agro, because they all have a place in my classroom. So here's just a little snippet of a video that me and some of my cohort members.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I love ag because it doesn't only get me out of my seat, but it also gives my mind a powerful workout.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I love ag because I get to learn more about nature.
Oh my god, hey, I didn't see you there. I love ag because it makes me get creative with what I learned.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I love ag because it allows me to spend time learning about things that I love, like cows.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. I like agriculture because it gets me out of my seat and gets me doing physical work.
Agriculture.
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 To me. And then another thing is being culturally responsible, and having a wide range of cultures in my classroom too is extremely important. I've learned this mainly through the Global Teach Ag Network, just being able to experience working with people from different cultures and being able to just be surrounded by that. And I just realized the impact it can make on a conversation, working towards goals, if we have multiple perspectives in the classroom. So really highlighting those cultures, making everybody feel welcome in my classroom is extremely important to me. And then also with cultural diversity comes different kind of learning styles that still our students learn from. So we have all these kind of domains, which is kind of what content areas we teach those. So it's like a psychomotor skill would be tearing down an engine, right? So when I'm tearing down the engine, I could use any of the modalities of learning, and these are the ways students learn best to teach us. So I could use a PowerPoint slide going through the visual, or I could show them how to tear it down. I could use auditory, speaking through the steps of tearing down the motor, or kinesthetic, which is actually getting their hands on it, tearing it down themselves. So being able to use variability, mixing those areas up that meet all students' needs so they have the best learning outcome as possible. And then the last question, how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching opportunity? So I will be student teaching, very excited to student teach at Selinsgrove Area School District with Mrs. Valerie Fry and Mr. Kurt Swineford. Every year they have about 180 students enrolled in the program, so a pretty big program. They're also certified in areas, ag production, operations general, and ag mechanization. And they have pretty cool facilities. They have 2 really nice classrooms, a big shop that has multiple stations, multiple welding booths, a paint room in the back that has a CNC in it, and then also a big greenhouse that they use to do their plant sale. And then a floral cooler to go along, house floral arrangements, but also house different food for like food science things and anything that needs cool down. So that's actually a really big, important part. And then, so some of the strengths and challenges that Selinsgrove is facing thus far, some of their strengths, super strong community relationships, and that is all because of Mrs. Fry and Mr. Swineford being a part of the local community, really immersing themselves, and having all those community connections is super vital in the strength of their program. And then they provide experiential hands-on learning opportunities. One time I walked in there just for observation and they were dissecting sheep brains. I was like, yes. I was like, this is the place I need to be. This is so fun. And then they also have excellent student relationships. So people that aren't even in the ag program will come down and stop talking to Ms. Fry and Mr. Swineford just because they know them from outside of school and they just have really great relationships with the students. Some of the challenges they face, they have lack of engagement in FFA and SAE activities. And I said, this is actually because students don't really like to miss school anymore, apparently. That was like the good thing for me when I was in high school, but it's really hard for them to miss school, so they really don't want to take time out to go to these different activities. And then students aren't able to be program completers if they go to SunTech, because SunTech is a tech school in that area and is only offered senior years. So it kind of rips the seniors out of the program and completely immerses them in the tech program, which is also amazing, but it's kind of hard on the agriculture program there. So these are some of the courses that I'll be teaching: Ag Foundations, Building Construction, Horticulture, and Vet Science. And then these are each of the units that I'll be teaching within those. So getting that wide breadth of agricultural experience and teaching within all of these different courses. And then I feel like some of my strengths coming into student teaching is that I'm adaptable. I like to have like a basic plan, but I wouldn't say I'm a good planner. But I'm also really good at just kind of like seeing when things aren't really working and needing to change. I'm perfectly fine with change, perfectly fine with changing things up and being adaptable that way. And then need for constant growth. My mom always says to me, girl, why put yourself through all this? Like, you always have to pick the hardest way out for yourself. I'm like, I get it. Sometimes I stress a lot, but it's okay. It makes me a better person, but I'm always striving to be a better person in general, be a better educator, and provide the best opportunities for my future students. And then this goes back to first slide talking about David, genuine care for student success. I just want to see all my students succeed, and I just care what's best for them, no matter what path that looks like. And then some goals that I help to get out of this. So develop strong, effective classroom management skills. I'm telling you, no matter what we learn in class, high school kids are like crazy. I don't even like to think about the things that they do. We did like a scenario problem in AE 412, and some of those scenarios were just awful. And they were like, there are things that actually happen. So crazy things are going to happen. So learning how to deal with that in the moment is going to be crucial. And then find effective ways to build positive relationships with all of my students. Underline, capitalize all the students in the back of the room that don't really want to be there. I feel like they were placed there for no reason. Trying to find a way to connect with them. And then advancing my ability to connect my content with students' interests to make the class seem important to them. So this is something that seems easy, like, yeah, implement their interest in your curriculum, but it's really hard when you have to get through a certain amount of material in a certain amount of time. Just really but it's very important to make them realize the importance of your course. So that is all I have for you today. I thank you all so much for coming out again. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Now, for questions, Grace, I'll start us off with one of the last points you made was on having a classroom that's accessible for students no matter what they want to do. And I want to challenge you to think about, what does that mean? What is your purpose as an ag teacher? What are the outcomes that you hope to have in your classroom for students in both the agricultural space and beyond? What do you want students? What is the purpose of your program? The outcomes you want your students to have in the classroom?
So I want students coming into my program to just have a general appreciation for agriculture, that it is in everything in the world around them. There are so many things that are agriculture, and it goes way beyond farming, just so that they know that. And they also get that basic agricultural knowledge in my classes, obviously. But when it comes to allowing them to explore their interests, when we have individual work time, letting them do projects, like Dr. White did for me in class, being able to find something that they're interested in, dig that a little deeper. And also through SAEs, this is also a really great opportunity that might get them out of agriculture a little bit and exploring other things that they're interested in. So maybe working at a nursing school or something like that, or anything else that maybe not be directly seen as agriculture. Thank you.
Grace, great presentation. What can we as the center here at Penn State do better for both your cohort, future cohorts, and the current in-service educators in the Eastern State?
Honestly, I would say the only thing that I wish that I had more of was that teaching experience, like getting to teach in front of my classmates was super helpful, but micro teaching was one of the most impactful experiences. I actually got to go to Milton High School and teach them for 3 days, actually getting that student relationship or high school student experience, because teaching my peers is great, but they're like the perfect students, right? They do everything perfectly. So actually getting that high school experience is, I think, really key, and I would hope to be maybe implemented more, but I do believe the program itself is the best. So.
Good.
Grace. Yes. You have a bunch of units that you're doing in the spring. What is one that you are most excited to teach and why?
One that I'm most excited to teach. I just have to say plant science unit, probably just because I love plant science so much. And she actually let me teach an agronomy unit within plant science. So that's really exciting, or in the horticulture course. So being able to teach agronomy is like, always been my passion, love it so much. So I'm just really excited to teach that, but also excited to teach the things I'm not so comfortable about, like electricity. Oh boy, but it'll be fun.
So you talked a lot about developing those skills that students will need for their future careers and their leadership skills. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you hope to do that?
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to highlight on getting kids involved in those FFA conferences, such as ACES, SLLC, or Fall Leadership Conference. Getting them there, that's what they focus on, building those leadership skills, but then also being able to build those in my classroom, making them work with others, make them switch around groups, and then making them be able to present things to the class, and then making them problem solve in labs, especially with inquiry learning. So those are kind of some of the options that I would have. Thank you.
Ms. Shawver, could you please tell me the difference between an advisory board and an alumni group or alumni chat?
I think that's an excellent question. Thank you. So an alumni group is just past members. I'm not that familiar with an alumni group, I'm going to be completely honest. But an advisory council, I know there's a local one and an occupational one that's made up of your community members and also industry members that are within your kind of local community that'll help you in determining what curriculum should be taught in the class, helping you with facilities and such. But also I've heard a lot about alumni groups helping with fundraising opportunities and just being general support for the FFA wherever it is needed. Thank you.
I have a question for you. Great presentation. obviously we've worked together on the research project coming back from Nepal, and I'm curious through that process, what would be a takeaway either from the results that we learned or just the research process itself that will allow you to teach effectively in the classroom?
Right, so I think it helps me a lot coming from this shell that I didn't think that I would ever travel internationally, and then showing my story of like how I got interested in international agriculture and just showing how it impacts everything that we do, how it impacts the gas prices and how that relates to agriculture and just everything with that. And just, I mean, when I express it that way, I don't know how they wouldn't see an importance in it. And I wish that would have been taught to me earlier. But also, just like I said, just sharing those experiences with them and be like, oh my gosh, it was super cool to go out of the country. My mom literally didn't even know who I was. She's like, who is my daughter? She like didn't ever think I would jump out of my comfort zone that much. But because of people who pushed me and got me there, I am where I am. Hope to do that for my students.
Grace, you talked a lot about focusing on student interest, right? Whether that's inside or outside of the agricultural program. So how could you facilitate that cross-curricular activities in your classroom, and what value does that bring?
Awesome. So I've had a lot of experience seeing this within the Global Teach Ag Network. They actually do a lot of cross-curricular activities, especially with like Poetry X Hunger, creating poetry about food security and agriculture issues, being able to provide those kind of outlets for creativity, and especially when I develop those student interests, getting to know what they're interested in, then I can build those outlets within my curriculum. Thank you.
Right, so Mrs. Fry says, you're a rock star. I can't wait to get you here. Also tell us about your future plans.
Oh, she really threw me under the bus with this one. So really exciting news. I wasn't sure if I was going to put this in my presentation. I ended up not, but I actually just got offered a position at Mifflinburg High School, close to where I'm living and also close to where I'm student teaching. So it's kind of scary having a job kind of already lined up before I even get into student teaching, but also I'm so incredibly grateful for that opportunity, and I'm so looking forward to having my own classroom, but also going through the student teaching experience with Mrs. Fry. I'm excited to learn so much from you and Mr. Swineford, and then being able to take that into Mifflinburg.
Grace, I see a hand up there. We'll walk you Paul if there's one from the audience. Okay. All right. So I'd like for you to give me an example, please, of something you'll be teaching in the spring that would reflect academic reinforcement or integration in the units you're teaching. The caveat you have is you cannot use an example of ag mechanics.
So could you repeat the question maybe?
Yeah, I'd like for you to identify an academic concept that you are reinforcing or integrating in the units you're teaching in the spring. You've been given the limitation of not utilizing your agricultural mechanics units.
So I'm sorry, I'm just like not understanding this question properly. Are you saying my experience is here, the things that I've learned here to implement?
I'm saying a unit that you'll be teaching in the spring.
Mhm.
I want you to identify an academic concept or an idea or a standard that through your lesson and instruction that you are reinforcing, backing up, assisting, and helping students learn in the spring. An academic concept that you'll be teaching in your agricultural science units.
An academic concept. So I'll be teaching a variety of cross-curricular skills, like math, science. They'll all be intertwined into my curriculum, especially math is the thing that's coming to my head immediately. Working with plant science and agronomy, especially knowing how to calculate acreage, and then also in that science, being able to make calculations for pounds versus kilograms, or knowing how to measure out proper dosages of things and such that. Sorry, it took me a while to get there.
Well, perhaps then we should ask that final question and give you a chance to wrap it up. That final question is, when it is all said and done at the end of 15 weeks, I want you to articulate what you hope the students, colleagues, administrators, and parents of the Selinsgrove School District think about Ms. Shawver.
I think I'm just gonna tie back to, I just want them to know and really know that I have general care for their students. So one thing that I'm really gonna try to implement is making the phone calls home to say positive things about every one of my students, getting that positive relationships with the parents, just letting them know I'm here to do what's best for your students, and that is all I'm trying to do.
Join us in congratulating Ms. Shawver. We're going to continue with the closed door portion for the next few moments. We have one final presentation on the docket at 3:30. 30?
Oh, absolutely. Trying to use social media. Thanks for